Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're tackling business planning and strategy, but not in the way you might expect.
Oh.
Yeah, we're using Patrick Bet-David's Choose Your Enemies Wisely as our guide, and this book is anything but your typical dry business read.
That's true. This book throws out the be nice, play fair approach
Right,
and embraces a more, shall we say, motivated strategy.
right.
Bet-David, who built his own multi-million-dollar business, really digs into how identifying your enemies can light a fire under you.
Okay, so you had me at enemies.
Yeah.
This is already way more interesting than spreadsheets and projections. But how does this actually work? Are we talking about actual rivals, or is this more metaphorical?
It's a bit of both. Bet-David uses the term enemy broadly. It could be a competitor, a naysayer, even a personal weakness that's holding you back. The point is to identify something that creates that I'll prove them wrong energy.
So you're telling me that channeling negativity can actually be a good thing? I'm starting to see how this could be powerful. But how do you choose the right enemies?
Yep.
You don't want to just get caught up in negativity for negativity's sake.
That's where Bet-David's 12 building blocks come in. This isn't just about stewing in resentment.
Oh.
It's a framework for turning that energy into action.
Right.
These blocks are like pairs of emotional and logical ingredients that build a strong business. Think enemy and competition, will and skill, mission and plan.
Yeah.
Each one feeds into the next.
I'm already feeling more strategic just hearing this. So you've got these 12 blocks. Is the idea to create this massive, detailed business plan document around them?
Not at all. Bet-David actually encourages keeping it concise, even just a few sentences per block. What he emphasizes is the clarity of those sentences.
Right.
If you can sum up your motivation and plan in a way that's crystal clear, you're more likely to actually act on it.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like no one remembers a rambling speech, but a powerful quote can stick with you for years.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that brings us to one of the most intriguing pairs in the 12 blocks.
Okay.
Will and skill.
Okay.
Bet-David is big on having that burning desire to succeed, the will. But he also emphasizes the need for skills to back it up. He has this great story about swallowing his pride and asking for help because he knew he needed specific business knowledge.
So it's not enough to just want it. You have to know how to achieve it. I think a lot of us can relate to that.
Absolutely. And what I find fascinating is that he doesn't just talk about developing your own skills, but also investing in your team's growth.
Yeah.
Like sending his CFO to a leadership program at Harvard because he knew that would benefit the entire company.
That's a great example. It shows he's not just thinking about himself, but about building a culture of improvement.
Yeah.
So we've got enemy and competition, we've got will and skill. Where do we go from there?
Well, the next logical step is mission and plan. Bet-David is huge on having a mission that's bigger than just making money. His own mission statement is all about using entrepreneurship to solve world problems and teach capitalism. Wow, that's ambitious. Yeah. But it also gives you a sense of purpose that goes way beyond just the day-to-day grind. Do you think everyone needs a mission statement that grand?
He doesn't necessarily say it has to be that big, but it should be deeply personal. What problem are you passionate about solving?
Yeah.
What change do you want to see in the world?
I love that. It's like finding the why behind your work, which makes it so much more meaningful.
Yeah.
He also gives some really practical advice about shifting your language, right?
Yes. Instead of saying, I just want to, he encourages using, I'm on a mission to.
Yeah,
It's subtle, but it totally changes your mindset.
that's so true. Even something as simple as changing the words you use can make a big difference.
Absolutely. And this idea of having systems,
Right.
of finding ways to do things more efficiently, really resonates with that.
Okay.
Bet-David is all about systems.
Okay.
He even compares Steve Jobs' signature black turtleneck to a system
Okay.
for simplifying his wardrobe choices.
Wait, seriously? A black turtleneck is a system?
His point is that Jobs removed the decision-making process from getting dressed, freeing up his mental energy for bigger things. Bet-David argues that without systems, we're constantly reinventing the wheel
Right.
and wasting time.
Okay, I see what he means. It's like having a morning routine. You don't have to think about what to do.
Right.
You just flow through it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that frees up your brain power for the more strategic stuff. Bet-David also talks about something he calls the dream language.
What's that all about? Does it involve speaking in your sleep?
Not quite. It's about painting a vivid picture of what success looks and feels like. He argues that leaders who can speak this language, who can make their vision tangible and exciting, are the ones who inspire their teams to reach ambitious goals.
So it's not just about setting goals. It's about making them feel real and achievable.
Yeah.
Almost like you're already living them.
Yes. And he encourages using relatable stories and examples to bring the vision to life. Think about how great leaders use stories to connect with people.
It's like when you hear a speaker tell a captivating story.
Where you're instantly drawn in
Right.
and more likely to remember their message.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that brings us to another crucial aspect of building a successful business culture.
Okay.
Bet David doesn't just skim the surface here.
Yeah.
He dives deep into how company culture impacts everything from employee morale to customer perception. This is something I've always found fascinating.
Yeah.
You can have the best product in the world, but if your company culture is toxic, it's going to show.
Right. He uses some really interesting examples to illustrate this,
Thank you.
like contrasting Skadden Law Firm's culture of reliability and reputation, where every action reinforces trustworthiness, with Facebook's recent benefit cutbacks, which may signal a shift in priorities and impact employee morale.
That's such a good point.
Ah.
Culture isn't just a buzzword. It has a real impact on a company's success.
Mm.
What are some of Bet David's key takeaways when it comes to building a positive company culture?
He stresses that attracting and retaining top talent takes more than just a good salary. It's about creating a culture that people are excited to be part of. Think about companies known for their amazing culture. They attract top talent because people genuinely want to work there.
Yeah, you hear about companies like Google or Zappos that have these incredible perks and benefits, but it's more than that, right?
Right.
It's about creating an environment where people feel valued and supported.
Absolutely. And Bet David digs into how to achieve that.
Okay.
He talks about being authentic, building a strong employer brand, and even making bold moves that demonstrate a commitment to the company's values.
So it's not just about saying you have a great culture. It's about backing it up with actions
Yeah.
and creating an environment where people feel like they're part of something special.
Exactly. Now, shifting gears to vision in the long game.
Okay.
Bet David uses some great examples here to illustrate the importance of having a long-term vision.
Yeah.
He talks about Tom Brady's sustained drive to win championships and Domino's Pizza's consistent focus on quality, demonstrating that it's about more than just short-term gains.
I love those examples. They show that consistency and a clear vision can really pay off in the long run. What are some of Bet David's tips for developing a strong, long-term vision?
He encourages thinking about the impact you want to make on your industry, your community,
Okay.
even the world. It's about imagining a desired future state
Yeah.
and letting that vision guide your present actions.
So it's about having a North Star, something that keeps you motivated and on track, even when things get tough.
Exactly. He also emphasizes the importance of being able to articulate that vision clearly,
Okay.
both verbally and visually. This is where things like a concise elevator pitch and a well-structured pitch deck come in.
Right. You need to be able to communicate your vision effectively to investors, potential partners, even potential employees.
Exactly. And he provides practical advice on how to do that, like crafting your elevator pitch so it captures the essence of your vision in a way that's easy to understand and remember.
I like that. It's about making your vision stick with people. What about securing capital? That's obviously a huge part of building a successful business.
Definitely. But Bet David's approach to capital and beyond the numbers is really interesting.
Oh.
He acknowledges the importance of securing funding,
Yeah.
but he argues that a compelling vision and a strong personal brand can be even more valuable than financial resources.
You're telling me that a good story can be more powerful than a big bank account? I'm intrigued. How does he back that up?
He shares an anecdote about attracting early employees who were drawn to his vision and leadership style more than the financial benefits. It highlights how authenticity and a clear sense of purpose can be incredibly compelling.
So people are looking to be part of something bigger than themselves, to connect with a leader who inspires them. That makes a lot of sense.
He also talks about identifying your key differentiators, both personal and business related. It's about understanding what makes you and your venture unique,
Yeah.
what problems you solve better than anyone else, what value you bring to the table.
Right. So it's not just about having a good idea. It's about knowing what sets you apart from the competition and being able to communicate that effectively.
Exactly. It's about crafting a narrative that highlights your strength and resonates with your target audience. He even talks about your unfair advantage, the unique assets or experiences that give you an edge.
I love that. It's like finding that superpower that no one else has. This is all great stuff, and I think it's a great foundation for starting to build our own plan.
Huh.
But where do we actually begin?
Well, but David emphasizes that before you can move forward, you have to understand where you've been.
Okay.
He encourages taking a deep dive into the previous year, reflecting not just on business performance, but on your personal life as well.
So it's about looking back before you can look ahead.
Yeah.
But why is it important to reflect on the personal side of things when creating a business plan? Don't those seem like separate areas?
He argues that they're deeply intertwined. He even brings up the concept of generational curses, the idea that family history and personal experiences can influence our current decisions and behaviors.
That's interesting. I guess our personal lives and our business lives are always informing each other. So how do we actually do this reflection? What are we looking for?
He encourages an honest assessment of what might have held you back in the previous year.
Okay.
This could involve analyzing wasted time and energy, identifying toxic relationships, or even acknowledging personal habits that are hindering your progress.
So it's not just about looking at the numbers. It's about getting to the root of the issues that are preventing you from reaching your full potential. That can be tough, but it's probably really valuable.
Exactly. And he also encourages looking beyond just the duration and depth of past experiences. It's not just about how long something lasted or how intense it was, but about the magic, the emotional and meaningful takeaways that shape your perspective.
So it's about finding those aha moments, those experiences that really taught you something valuable.
Exactly. He even draws a parallel between planning for a successful business and planning for a successful marriage.
Okay.
Both require careful planning, clear communication, and a deep understanding of your own needs and motivations,
Yeah.
as well as the needs and motivations of your partner,
Right.
whether it's a spouse or a business partner.
I like that analogy. You're basically creating a partnership in both cases, and that requires effort and intentionality.
Yeah.
So we've done our reflection.
Yeah.
We've got a better understanding of where we've been. Now we're ready to start building the actual plan.
Right. But Bet David doesn't just jump into tactics and strategies. He introduces a really interesting concept called planning like Japan, executing like America, that he draws from Jeffrey Leiker's book, The Toyota Way.
Okay, I'm curious. What does that even mean? Planning like Japan, executing like America.
He highlights the Japanese approach to business, which emphasizes long-term thinking,
Okay.
meticulous planning, and creating value that spans generations. This contrasts with the American emphasis on short-term gains and hitting quarterly numbers,
Okay.
which can sometimes sacrifice long-term sustainability.
So it's like the tortoise and the hare. Slow and steady versus fast and furious.
Exactly. But Bet David isn't saying one approach is better than the other. He advocates for a more balanced approach, combining the meticulous planning and long-term vision of the Japanese with the dynamic execution and entrepreneurial spirit of the Americans.
I like that. It's like finding that sweet spot between being strategic and being adaptable.
Right.
But how do we actually put that into practice?
He provides a detailed map of PBD's entire business planning process, which is a structured framework for analyzing the past, defining your goals, and creating a roadmap for the future.
So it's like a blueprint that we can customize to fit our own businesses and goals.
Yeah.
That's super helpful. Now let's dive into those building blocks,
Okay.
starting with enemy and competition. I'm still fascinated by this idea of choosing your enemies. How does that work in practice?
He uses the example of Tom Brady. Throughout his career, Brady consistently identified and targeted new enemies, using their doubts and criticisms as fuel to achieve unprecedented success in the NFL.
So it's almost like having a rival pushes you to perform at a higher level.
Yeah.
But does it always have to be a specific person?
Not necessarily. Bet David emphasizes that your enemy can also be a larger challenge or a prevailing narrative that you're determined to overcome. It's about finding something that motivates you on a visceral level,
Okay.
something that you're determined to prove wrong.
I see. So it's about tapping into that inner drive to overcome obstacles and achieve something extraordinary.
Exactly. And while an enemy can be a powerful motivator, Bet David also distinguishes between competition and an enemy.
Okay.
Competition is a natural part of the business landscape, but an enemy is something that evokes a deeper emotional response.
So competition is like playing a game, while an enemy is like fighting a battle. It's a different level of intensity.
Right. And Bet David argues that having the right enemies can provide an edge that even capital can't buy. He even tells a story about confronting a former boss who doubted his abilities, using the insults and criticisms as fuel to prove him wrong.
Wow, that's taking the enemy concept to a whole new level.
It is. But it also shows how powerful that mindset can be. Now, while harnessing the power of enemies is important, Bet David also provides practical tips for analyzing your competition more broadly.
Right, because you need to understand who you're up against in order to come out on top. What kind of advice does he give?
He encourages a proactive approach to gathering intel,
Okay.
understanding your competitors' strategies, and even using their sales tactics to your advantage.
Ah.
He emphasizes that knowledge is power in the business world.
So it's about doing your homework and knowing what your competition is doing so you can anticipate their moves and stay one step ahead.
Exactly. And he even encourages readers to think broadly about their competition, considering not just direct rivals, but also alternative solutions that might meet the needs of their target customers.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Sometimes the biggest threat to your business isn't another company that does exactly what you do,
Yeah.
but something completely different that disrupts the entire industry.
Exactly. It's about staying ahead of the curve and anticipating those shifts in the market.
Uh,
Now, moving on to the next building block, will and skill.
okay.
Bet David really emphasizes the importance of both elements.
Yeah.
He shares his own journey of overcoming weaknesses by developing crucial business skills and seeking out mentors who could guide his growth.
So it's not enough to just want to succeed. You also need the knowledge and expertise to back it up. I think that's a really important point.
Absolutely. And he acknowledges that while he had an abundance of will, that raw desire to succeed, he lacked certain technical and strategic skills that were essential for building a thriving business. He realized that will without skill can be like a car with a powerful engine, but no steering wheel.
That's a great analogy. You need both to actually get where you're going.
Yeah.
But how did he go about developing those skills?
He emphasizes the importance of continuous learning and adapting to the changing demands of the business world. He even talks about how rapidly evolving technologies like AI are transforming industries and requiring professionals to constantly update their skill sets to remain relevant.
So it's not just about learning a specific set of skills and then you're done.
Right.
It's about committing to lifelong learning and staying ahead of the curve.
Exactly. And it's not just about developing your own skills.
Okay.
Bet David stresses the importance of investing in the skills of others, particularly your team members. He believes that a culture of continuous learning and improvement is a key differentiator for successful organizations.
So it's about creating an environment where everyone is encouraged to grow and learn. That makes a lot of sense.
He provides practical advice for both investing in your own skill development and encouraging others to invest in theirs. This could involve identifying specific skill gaps, researching relevant training programs and conferences, and even crafting compelling proposals to secure funding for professional development opportunities from your employer.
That's helpful advice. It's like giving people the tools and resources they need to succeed.
Exactly. And he also introduces a really interesting concept called performance versus trust. Human skills.
Okay.
He draws on insights from Simon Sinek's work, highlighting the importance of both competence and character when building a high-performing team.
I'm intrigued. Tell me more about this performance versus trust concept.
Bet David argues that while skills and performance are crucial, trust is the foundation of any successful relationship,
Okay.
whether it's with a business partner, an employee, or a customer. He provides a matrix for evaluating individuals based on both trust and performance, emphasizing that the ideal team members are those who score high in both areas.
So it's not just about hiring the most skilled person. It's also about finding people who are trustworthy and who will contribute to a positive team dynamic.
Exactly. He even shares examples of how he invested in the development of key team members by sending them to prestigious leadership programs, recognizing that their growth would ultimately benefit the entire organization.
That's a great example of putting that principle into practice. So we've covered enemy and competition and will and skill. What's next on our journey through the 12 building blocks?
Well, now we delve into mission and planning beyond the obvious. And Bet David really encourages readers to think about their mission in grand terms, connecting their work to a deeper purpose that goes beyond just making a profit.
I like that. It's about finding that why behind your work, something that gives it meaning and makes you feel passionate about what you're doing.
He shares his own mission statement, which is to use entrepreneurship to solve the world's problems and teach capitalism, as an example of how a mission can be both ambitious and grounded in specific values.
Wow, that's a powerful mission statement. But do you think everyone needs a mission statement that grand?
He doesn't necessarily say it has to be that big, but it should be deeply personal. He provides a series of prompts to help readers uncover their own missions, encouraging them to identify the causes they're passionate about,
Okay.
the injustices they're determined to correct, or the positive impact they want to make on the world.
I like that. It's about finding what truly motivates you and letting that guide your actions. Does he give any tips on how to actually craft a compelling mission statement?
He encourages replacing just statements with because statements when articulating your mission. For example, instead of saying, I just want to make enough money to travel the world, you might say, I'm on a mission to build a successful business because it will allow me to experience different cultures and broaden my perspective. Adding the because connects your actions to a deeper motivation.
I see. It's like giving your mission statement more weight and purpose. It's not just a wish, it's a declaration of your intent.
Exactly. And once you've crafted your mission statement, he suggests conducting litmus tests to evaluate its effectiveness. This could involve saying the statement out loud, observing your body language, or sharing it with others to gauge their reaction.
It's about making sure your mission statement actually resonates with you and feels authentic.
Exactly. Now, while having a clear mission is crucial, Bet David also emphasizes the importance of the planning aspect of this building block.
Right. You need a roadmap to actually achieve your mission.
He dives into the practical aspects of planning, emphasizing the importance of conducting a SWOT analysis, which stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats,
Yeah.
to assess your current position and identify key areas for improvement.
So it's about taking stock of where you are, what you're good at, what you need to work on, and what's happening in the market that could affect your business. A SWOT analysis is a classic business tool, but it's always a good reminder to go back to the basics.
He encourages doing this exercise for both your personal and professional lives, recognizing that these two domains are often intertwined and influence each other. It's about taking a holistic view of your situation and developing a plan that addresses your needs and goals across multiple areas of your life.
I like that. It's about acknowledging that your personal and professional lives are connected and that what happens in one area can affect the other.
Exactly. Now, moving beyond the SWOT analysis, Bet David also emphasizes the importance of creating detailed operational plans.
Okay.
This involves scheduling key activities, setting deadlines, and anticipating potential crises. He even encourages thinking like chess grandmasters,
Oh, wow.
always staying several moves ahead.
Okay, I'm feeling a little overwhelmed just thinking about all that planning.
Yeah.
But I guess it makes sense.
Yeah.
You don't have a plan, you're just reacting to whatever comes your way.
He provides practical advice for calendarizing your year, scheduling important meetings and events, and even blocking out time for strategic planning and skill development. It's about being proactive and intentional with your time, rather than simply reacting to whatever comes your way.
That's a great point. It's so easy to get caught up in the day-to-day and forget to make time for the big picture stuff.
He also stresses the importance of planning for crises before they happen. He encourages playing the what-if game, identifying potential threats, and developing contingency plans to mitigate their impact. It's like preparing for a natural disaster or a major business disruption. You might not know exactly when or if it will happen, but you'll be much better off if you've thought about it in advance.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like that saying, hope for the best, but prepare for the worst.
Exactly. And he even provides a series of thought-provoking questions to help anticipate potential challenges. These could include things like losing a key customer, experiencing a cash flow shortage, or facing a lawsuit.
So it's about thinking through those worst-case scenarios and having a plan in place just in case. That can feel a bit daunting, but it's probably really empowering in the long run.
It is. And he emphasizes having open and honest conversations with your team about potential risks and challenges, encouraging a culture of transparency and proactive problem solving.
So it's not about pretending that everything is always going to be perfect. It's about acknowledging the potential for things to go wrong and working together to find solutions.
Exactly. Now, shifting gears to a more inspirational topic,
Okay.
the next building block is dreams and systems. Bet David encourages readers to embrace their dreams,
Yeah,
even those that seem outlandish or impossible to achieve.
I love that. It's so easy to let go of our dreams as we get older and start focusing on the practicalities of life.
He shares his own childhood dream of owning a Major League Baseball team,
Oh, wow.
which actually came true when he became a minority owner of the New York Yankees.
Oh, wow.
This highlights the power of holding on to a vision, even when the path to achieving it is unclear.
Wow, that's an amazing story.
Mm-hmm.
It shows that sometimes even the craziest dreams can come true if you don't give up on them.
Yeah.
But he also emphasizes the importance of systems, right?
Yes. He argues that dreams spark the fire and provide the emotional fuel for success,
Yeah.
but they need to be combined with effective systems to translate that inspiration into tangible results.
So it's not enough to just dream big. You need a plan to actually make those dreams a reality.
He uses the analogy of a car with a powerful engine and a full tank of gas, but no steering wheel or brakes.
Right.
Systems are the essential mechanisms that allow you to direct your energy and control your progress.
I see. So the dream is the fuel, but the system is the vehicle that gets you where you want to go.
Exactly. And he talks about learning the dream language, which involves vividly describing your vision for the future and inspiring others to share in that dream.
I'm intrigued. What does it mean to speak the dream language?
It's about creating a compelling narrative that resonates with your audience. Whether it's your team, your investors, or your customers, he encourages leaders to incorporate the dream language into their communication, using relatable stories, personal anecdotes, and vivid imagery to paint a picture of the future they're striving to create.
So it's not just about stating your goals, it's about making them come alive for people.
Yeah.
Almost like you're telling a story that they can get lost in.
Exactly. And he also provides practical tips for making your dreams and goals more visual. This could involve creating vision boards, setting up inspiring screensavers, or even physically surrounding yourself with objects that represent your aspirations.
So it's about keeping those dreams front and center, using visual cues to remind yourself of what you're working towards. That makes a lot of sense.
Now, moving beyond the dream part of this building block,
Okay.
Bet David also dives deep into the importance of developing systems for everything,
Yeah.
even seemingly mundane tasks like getting dressed or brushing your teeth.
Okay, I'm not sure I follow. How can something as simple as getting dressed be a system?
His point is that systems free up mental bandwidth and allow you to focus on higher-level activities. He uses the example of Steve Jobs' signature black turtleneck as a system for simplifying his daily routine
All right.
and eliminating unnecessary decision-making.
So it's about creating routines and habits that streamline your day and allow you to focus your energy on the things that really matter.
Exactly. By creating systems for recurring tasks,
Okay.
you can automate your behavior and streamline your workflow,
Right.
freeing up time and energy for more creative and strategic endeavors.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like having a system for checking your email or managing your to-do list. Once you have a system in place, it becomes second nature, and you don't have to waste time thinking about it.
He also emphasizes the importance of creating systems for gathering, analyzing, and implementing data,
Okay.
arguing that effective data-driven decision-making is essential for scaling a business and achieving ambitious goals.
So it's not just about having systems for your personal life, it's about having systems for your business as well. And data is obviously crucial in today's world.
Absolutely. He encourages identifying systems that can help you buy back time,
Oh, okay.
which means delegating tasks that can be handled by others,
Right.
and focusing on activities that leverage your unique strengths and generate the highest return on investment.
That's a great way to think about it. It's
Mhm.
about being strategic with your time and energy and focusing on the things that only you can do.
Exactly. And he also highlights the importance of systems for managing finances, tracking progress,
Okay.
and ensuring accountability within a team.
So it's about creating a structure that supports efficiency, consistency, and continuous improvement. I think that's a great place to pause for now.
Okay.
We've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive into Patrick Bet-David's Choose Your Enemies Wisely.
We have.
We've explored the power of enemies, the importance of both will and skill,
Yeah.
the need for a compelling mission and a detailed plan, and the power of combining dreams with effective systems.
Absolutely. Welcome back. It's great to be continuing this deep dive into Patrick Bet-David's Choose Your Enemies Wisely. Last time we left off talking about the importance of systems. Now let's move on to culture and the supporting cast, which is all about the people you surround yourself with and the environment you create.
This is something I'm really curious about. You can have the best strategy in the world, but if you don't have the right people and the right culture, it's all going to fall apart, right?
Bet-David would definitely agree with you there. He emphasizes the profound impact of company culture on everything from employee morale and productivity to customer perception and brand loyalty. It's not just a fluffy concept. It's a core element of success.
So how does he define company culture? Is it just about having ping pong tables and free snacks?
It goes much deeper than that. He argues that culture is a set of values, behaviors, and shared beliefs that shape how an organization operates and interacts with the world. It's about creating an environment where people feel valued, respected, and inspired to do their best work.
Okay, so it's about creating a positive and supportive work environment. But how do you actually do that? What are some of the concrete steps that leaders can take to build a strong culture?
He suggests starting by defining the word or words that embody your desired culture. It could be trust, innovation, collaboration, or any other value that's core to your vision for the company. Once you've identified those key words, it's about aligning everything you do with those values.
So it's about walking the talk, making sure your actions reflect the values you're promoting. It can't just be lip service.
Exactly. He also talks about creating rituals and traditions that reinforce those values. For example, maybe you initiate new hires with a meaningful experience that embodies the company's mission, or you celebrate successes in a way that reflects the company's ethos. It's about making those values tangible and bringing them to life through everyday actions.
I like that. It's about creating a sense of shared identity and purpose. Does he give any examples of companies that have done this well?
He mentions Skadden Law Firm, known for its reliability and reputation, where every action reinforces a sense of trustworthiness. He also contrasts that with companies that have faced challenges related to their culture, like Facebook's recent benefit cutbacks, which may have signaled a shift in priorities and impacted employee morale.
Right. So it's about being consistent and making sure your actions are aligned with your stated values.
Oh.
Otherwise, you risk eroding trust and creating a disconnect between what you say and what you do.
Exactly. Now, beyond creating a strong internal culture, Bet David also highlights the importance of building a strong employer brand that attracts and retains top talent.
Right. Because in today's competitive job market, you can't just wait for people to come to you. You have to actively market yourself as a great place to work.
He argues that building a strong employer brand goes beyond just offering competitive salaries and benefits. It's about showcasing your company's values, mission, and culture to the world, attracting people who are not only skilled, but also aligned with your vision.
So it's about finding people who are the right fit for your company, not just the most qualified on paper.
Exactly. And he talks about making bold moves that demonstrate a commitment to the company's values and create a sense of excitement and loyalty among employees. This could involve taking a public stand on a social issue, investing in a unique employee development program, or offering an unconventional benefit that sets you apart.
I see. It's about making a statement that says, this is who we are and this is what we stand for. It's about going beyond the typical corporate playbook.
Now, moving on to vision and the long game. Bet David really emphasizes the importance of having a vision that extends beyond just achieving short-term goals. He's talking about creating a roadmap for the future that guides your decisions and actions over an extended period of time.
It's like having that North Star that keeps you on track even when you encounter obstacles or detours along the way.
Exactly. He encourages thinking big, imagining the impact you want to make on your industry, your community, or even the world. He uses examples like Tom Brady's sustained drive to win championships and Domino's Pizza's consistent focus on quality to illustrate the power of a long-term vision.
Those are great examples. It shows that consistency and a clear vision can lead to incredible success over time. But how do you actually develop a strong long-term vision? Where do you even begin?
He provides some really helpful prompts. One of them is, imagine one day if, followed by a statement that captures your aspirations. For example, imagine one day if entrepreneurship and financial literacy were part of grade school curriculums. Or imagine one day if diabetes were easily manageable and no one needed to use an insulin pump.
I love that. It's about painting a picture of a desired future state and then working backwards to figure out how to get there.
He also stresses the importance of articulating your vision in a clear and compelling way, both verbally and visually. This is where things like a concise elevator pitch and a well-structured pitch deck come in.
Right, because if you can't communicate your vision effectively, you're not going to inspire others to buy into it.
He gives practical advice for crafting a concise elevator pitch that captures the essence of your vision in a way that people can easily understand and remember.
It's like creating a soundbite that sums up your vision in a nutshell.
Yeah.
What about the visual side of things? How do you make your vision come alive visually?
He encourages using visual aids like images, charts, and graphs to make your presentations more engaging and memorable. It's about packaging your vision in a way that resonates with your target audience and inspires them to support your endeavors.
So it's about appealing to both the head and the heart, using logic and emotion to paint a compelling picture of the future you're striving to create.
Exactly. Now, while it's important to have a clear vision, Bet David also acknowledges that the path to achieving that vision may not always be linear. He stresses the importance of being able to adapt your vision as circumstances change while remaining committed to the core principles and values that drive your purpose.
So it's not about being rigid and sticking to the plan no matter what. It's about being flexible and willing to adjust course when necessary while still keeping your eye on the prize.
He encourages viewing your vision as a journey, recognizing that there may be unexpected twists and turns along the way, but the destination remains constant.
That's a great way to think about it. It's about embracing the uncertainty and the challenges while staying focused on the ultimate goal.
He also stresses seeking feedback on your vision from trusted advisors, mentors, and team members, recognizing that diverse perspectives can help you refine your approach and ensure that your vision is both inspiring and achievable.
That's such an important point. It's so easy to get stuck in your own head and lose sight of the bigger picture. Getting feedback from others can help you stay grounded and make sure your vision is aligned with reality.
Now let's move on to the final building block we'll cover today, capital and beyond the numbers. This is where Bet David addresses the all-important question of funding your venture.
Obviously, money is essential for starting and growing a business. But what does he mean by beyond the numbers?
He acknowledges the importance of securing capital, but he argues that a compelling vision and a strong personal brand can be even more valuable than financial resources. It's not just about the money, it's about the story you tell, the people you attract, and the value you create.
So it's about building something that people believe in,
Right.
something that resonates with their values and aspirations.
Exactly. He shares a great anecdote about attracting early employees who were drawn to his vision and leadership style, more than the financial benefits, highlighting the power of authenticity and a clear sense of purpose when building a team.
People want to be part of something meaningful, something that makes a difference in the world.
Exactly. He also advocates for identifying your key differentiators, both personal and business related. What makes you and your venture unique? What problems do you solve better than anyone else? What value do you bring to the table?
It's about knowing what sets you apart and being able to articulate that clearly to potential investors, partners, and customers.
And he encourages thinking about your unfair advantage, those unique assets, experiences, or skills that you can leverage to create a competitive edge in the marketplace.
It's like finding your superpower, that special something that gives you an edge over the competition. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground with these building blocks. We've talked about culture, vision, and capital. But once you've created this amazing plan, how do you actually put it into action?
That's a great question, and it's something that Bet David addresses in the next section of the book, which he calls rolling out the plan.
Okay, let's dive into that. What are some of his key insights for actually executing the plan you've created?
Welcome back to the deep dive. We're in the final stretch of our exploration of Patrick Bet David's Choose Your Enemies Wisely. I'm really starting to see how all these building blocks fit together to create a solid foundation for success.
It's definitely not your typical business book.
Right.
Bet David weaves together personal anecdotes, strategic insights, and even some unconventional wisdom to challenge the way we think about building a business. In the last part, we left off talking about the importance of strong leadership for actually rolling out your plan. One thing that keeps coming up for me is this idea that business success isn't just about logic and strategy. It's about emotion and passion as well.
Absolutely. Bet David emphasizes that throughout the book. He believes that tapping into your emotions, both your own and those of your team, is essential for achieving extraordinary results.
It's like that saying, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. If you can connect with people on an emotional level, you're much more likely to inspire them to action.
He dedicates a whole section to the power of stories, both those that inspire and those that validate your point. He argues that storytelling is a key skill for effective communication, whether you're motivating your team or persuading investors.
I've always been a sucker for a good story. I think it's because stories make information more relatable and memorable.
Bet David talks about two types of stories. Stories that inspire and invite, which appeal to our emotions, and stories that validate your point, which rely on logic and evidence.
So it's about finding the right balance between appealing to the head and the heart. Does he give any examples of how to use these different types of stories?
He encourages leaders to master both types of storytelling, recognizing that a balance of inspiration and logic is essential for effective communication. Think about how the best leaders use stories to connect with people. They might share a personal story about overcoming a challenge to inspire their team, or they might use a data-driven story to back up a strategic decision.
It's like finding the right tool for the job. Sometimes you need a hammer, sometimes you need a screwdriver.
Exactly. And speaking of overcoming challenges, one story that really stood out to me was Bet David's experience securing a contract with AIG, which was considered one of the most hated companies in America at the time.
Wait, why would he work with a company that had such a bad reputation?
Well, his business was on the verge of collapse, and he needed a solution fast. He saw an opportunity to leverage AIG's need to rebuild their reputation and his need for a lifeline.
So it was a mutually beneficial partnership, even though it was an unconventional choice.
Right. It highlights the importance of being resourceful and open to unexpected opportunities, even in the midst of a crisis.
And it shows that sometimes you have to take risks and make bold moves to achieve your goals.
It also demonstrates the importance of being prepared to present your case clearly and persuasively, even under pressure. Bet David had to convince a room full of skeptical executives that he was a worthy partner. And he did it by combining his passionate belief in his vision with a logical and well-articulated plan.
That takes a lot of courage and confidence.
Now, remember that concept we talked about earlier, planning like Japan, executing like America?
Yeah.
This story really embodies that principle.
Right. He had the long-term vision and the strategic planning of Japan, but he also had the American grit and determination to make it happen.
Bet David emphasizes finding that sweet spot between those two approaches, combining the strategic foresight of the Japanese with the entrepreneurial spirit of the Americans.
It's about being both strategic and adaptable, capable of navigating both short-term challenges and long-term opportunities.
Now, shifting gears a bit, Bet David shares a really interesting framework for evaluating potential running mates, which he applies to both hiring decisions and personal relationships.
Running mates, like in a political campaign.
He uses the term metaphorically to describe the people you choose to surround yourself with, both in business and in life. He emphasizes the importance of aligning yourself with people who share your values, are trustworthy, and possess the skills and the will to contribute to your success.
So it's about finding people who complement your strengths and weaknesses, people you can trust and rely on.
He provides a scorecard for evaluating individuals based on 6 key characteristics: character, trust, work ethic, vision buy-in, competency skill set, and contacts.
That's a really helpful tool. It gives you a framework for thinking about the qualities that are most important in the people you bring into your inner circle.
He argues that surrounding yourself with the right people is essential for achieving your goals and creating a fulfilling and supportive environment.
It's like that saying, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If you want to be successful, you need to surround yourself with successful people.
He also encourages thinking about the culture you want to create within your organization and hiring people who fit into that culture. Remember, culture is more than just perks and benefits. It's a set of shared values, beliefs, and behaviors that shape how people interact and work together.
Right. It's about finding people who are aligned with your vision and values and who will contribute to a positive and productive work environment.
He suggests creating rituals and traditions that reinforce the desired culture, such as hosting regular team-building events, celebrating successes in a meaningful way, or even establishing a company-wide book club.
It's about creating a sense of community and belonging, making people feel like they're part of something special.
He also encourages leaders to be clear about the non-negotiables that define their culture. These are the behaviors and values that are absolutely essential for success within the organization.
Right. So it's about setting clear expectations and holding people accountable to those expectations.
He argues that by clearly articulating the non-negotiables and holding people accountable to them, you can create a strong and consistent culture that attracts and retains the right people.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about creating a plan, building a team, developing your leadership skills. But at the end of the day, it's all about taking action right.
Absolutely. Bet David emphasizes this throughout the book. He doesn't want you to create a plan that just sits on a shelf gathering dust. He wants you to use it as a guide for taking action and making things happen.
It's about turning those ideas and strategies into concrete results.
He encourages setting deadlines, tracking progress, and holding yourself and your team accountable for achieving the goals outlined in the plan. It's about turning that vision into reality.
He also encourages celebrating successes along the way. It's so easy to get caught up in the grind and forget to acknowledge our accomplishments.
Celebrating successes both big and small helps to maintain momentum, boost morale, and reinforce the idea that the plan is actually working.
It's about creating a positive feedback loop that keeps everyone motivated and engaged.
He also provides practical advice for staying motivated and focused even when faced with setbacks or challenges. This could involve revisiting your mission statement, connecting with your why, visualizing your goals, or simply taking a break to recharge and refocus.
It's about having strategies for dealing with those inevitable moments of doubt or discouragement that we all experience from time to time.
And he stresses the importance of having a support system, surrounding yourself with people who encourage you, provide guidance, and challenge you to grow. This could include mentors, friends, family members, or even a professional coach.
It's about remembering that you don't have to go it alone. Having a supportive network can make a huge difference.
One final insight that really resonated with me was Bette David's story about interviewing Elon Musk on 60 Minutes and witnessing his emotional response when confronted with criticism from his heroes Neil Armstrong and Gene Cernan.
Wow, I can only imagine how intense that must have been. What did you take away from that story?
It highlights the human side of even the most successful entrepreneurs, reminding us that even visionaries like Elon Musk are driven by deep emotions, personal values, and a desire to make a meaningful impact on the world.
It's a reminder that we're all human no matter how successful we become. We all have dreams, doubts, and aspirations.
It also emphasizes the importance of authenticity and vulnerability in leadership, recognizing that showing your true self, including your passion, your doubts, and your aspirations, can inspire others and build deeper connections.
So it's about being real, being yourself, and letting people see your human side. I think that's a powerful message.
I agree. So as we wrap up this deep dive into Patrick Bet-David's Choose Your Enemies Wisely, we've explored his unique approach to business planning, which combines strategic thinking with emotional intelligence, practical advice, with inspiring stories, and a relentless focus on action.
It's been a fantastic journey. We've covered so much ground from identifying your enemies and crafting a compelling vision to building a strong culture and securing the capital you need to fuel your growth.
His framework is both comprehensive and adaptable, providing a roadmap for success that can be tailored to your individual goals, your industry, and your personal style.
And one of the biggest takeaways for me is that success isn't just about having a great idea or a perfect plan. It's about having the will to pursue your vision, the skills to execute it, and the courage to choose your enemies wisely.
He encourages us to embrace our dreams, identify our enemies, cultivate our skills, build a strong team, and above all, never stop learning and growing.
And remember his challenge. Strive for work-life integration, where your work isn't just a means to an end, but a source of purpose fulfillment and a reflection of your deepest values.
That's a powerful thought to leave us with. As you embark on your own business journey, remember to choose your enemies wisely, turn adversity into fuel, and never stop striving to create a life where your work and your passions are aligned.